There comes a moment in life when you realize that the love you have been searching for outside has never truly been absent. It has simply been waiting for you to align with it. This realization often doesn't arrive with fireworks or dramatic revelations, but rather in the quiet recognition that something deep inside you is misaligned. You may have felt invisible even in crowded rooms, unheard even in conversations, or unloved despite giving all of yourself. These moments of emptiness are not signs that you are unworthy of love. Instead, they are mirrors pointing to a fundamental truth. Love can only flow freely when the energy you carry is coherent, when your vibration reflects the very qualities you long to experience. For many, the greatest pain comes not from rejection, but from the silent contradiction within. On one hand, you yearn for intimacy, belonging, and partnership. On the other, your body and spirit are sending signals of fear, scarcity, or distrust. You speak of wanting love, yet carry a vibration of guardedness. You dream of abundance, yet your energy whispers doubt. This is why no one will love you fully, not because you are lacking, but because your vibration is fragmented, transmitting a frequency that does not match the life you desire. The universe does not punish. It simply reflects the state you inhabit. To adjust your vibration is not to fake joy, suppress fear, or pretend to be positive all the time. It is about cultivating coherence between your inner state and your outer desires. It is about teaching your body and mind to rest in the feeling of what you wish to receive before it arrives. This is the essence of manifestation, not effortful striving, but becoming energetically aligned with the reality you seek. When you live in this state, your presence begins to radiate clarity. Love does not need to be chased. It recognizes you, gravitates toward you, and chooses to stay. This video is not just a teaching, it is an invitation. Together, we will walk through the hidden reasons why love and abundance slip through your fingers, uncover the subtle ways you sabotage your own vibration, and explore practices that bring your body, mind, and spirit into harmony. You will see why manifestation is not about forcing outcomes, but about embodying the state that naturally attracts them. By the end of this journey, you will not only understand why no one can love you fully until you adjust your vibration, but you will also feel the shift happening within, opening the door for a love and a life that no longer need to be chased, only welcomed. There is a certain kind of loneliness that does not come from being physically alone, but from carrying within you a vibration that is out of harmony with what your heart longs for. You may have experienced this when sitting next to someone you love, yet still feeling misunderstood, or when giving everything you have to a relationship only to watch it dissolve. This quiet distance does not arise from fate being cruel. It emerges from the subtle misalignment between the energy you radiate and the reality you desire to live. The body speaks a language of its own, and long before words are spoken, others feel your vibration. If that vibration carries fear, distrust, or desperation, it creates a barrier even in the presence of affection. Many people approach manifestation as if it were about asking the universe for favors, hoping that thoughts alone can rewrite destiny. But love, abundance, and fulfillment are not favors to be granted. They are resonances that answer to coherence. When your mind insists on one story while your heart and body repeat another, you project signals of contradiction. You might say you want stability, yet continue tolerating inconsistency. You might dream of love, yet remain locked in patterns of self-defense. The universe does not judge these contradictions, it mirrors them, and so you keep meeting what your vibration announces, not what your mind imagines. To understand this misalignment, consider the way the body stores memory. Every unhealed disappointment, every betrayal not fully processed, every moment of abandonment leaves an imprint. These imprints are not simply thoughts. They are sensations, tensions, reflexes that quietly guide behavior. The nervous system, designed to protect you, remembers pain more quickly than it recalls peace. So when love approaches, the body may not recognize it as safe. Instead, it anticipates loss, pulls back, or demands proof. This is why manifestation without inner coherence often fails. The body is still rehearsing old endings, while the mind is picturing new beginnings. Real transformation begins when you acknowledge that your vibration is not an abstract frequency floating in space, but a living reality expressed through your breath, your posture, your tone of voice, and your choices. When you feel unworthy, your chest collapses slightly. Your eyes avoid direct contact, your words carry hesitation. Others may not consciously interpret these signals, yet they sense them. This is how vibration communicates. It is not magic, it is the subtle language of presence. To adjust your vibration, you must first become aware of how your body is carrying the past into the present. Imagine your inner life as a river. When the current is blocked by stones of old fears and limiting beliefs, the water still flows, but unevenly, with turbulence. Relationships formed in this turbulence become difficult to sustain because they are built upon waters that have not yet cleared. To manifest love and connection, the stones must be acknowledged and gently removed, not ignored or forced aside. This is not an easy process because it requires courage to sit with emotions that have long been avoided. Yet every stone lifted creates more space for the river to flow smoothly. There is also a truth about love that many resist. You cannot receive more from others than you are willing to allow yourself. If you constantly measure your worth against achievements, appearances, or approval, you anchor your vibration in scarcity. Even when someone offers love, you filter it through suspicion. You wait for the moment it will vanish. In doing so, you unconsciously train others to withdraw. The cycle repeats, reinforcing the belief that love is fragile, unreliable, or conditional. But the reality is different. It is not love that is fragile. It is the vibration of self-rejection that makes it seem so. Shifting this vibration begins with small acts of coherence. Breathing deeply when anxiety rises teaches your body that safety is possible here and now. Speaking your truth, even when your voice shakes, signals to your nervous system that your presence is allowed. Choosing boundaries without apology aligns your energy with self-respect. These seemingly ordinary acts are not separate from manifestation. They are manifestation. They broadcast a frequency that others can feel, one that says, "I am safe in my own being and I invite love that resonates with this safety." The path is not about perfection or constant positivity. Life will still bring challenges, moments of doubt and shadows of old patterns. But what changes is your ability to return, again and again, to coherence. Each return strengthens the new vibration, and over time, it becomes your natural state. From this place, relationships shift. You no longer chase those who cannot stay, because your energy no longer tolerates inconsistency. You no longer beg for scraps of attention, because your vibration has learned to rest in its own worth. Love becomes not a prize to win, but a resonance to share. Think of the people who inspire you most. They are rarely those who are flawless or untouched by hardship. They are often those who carry a steady presence, whose energy feels grounding, who walk into a room and immediately soften its atmosphere. What they radiate is coherence, the alignment of inner truth with outer expression. This is what draws others, what sustains relationships, and what turns fleeting attraction into lasting connection. You have the same capacity within you. The river of your being can clear, the stones can be lifted, and your vibration can harmonize with the love you have always desired. The silent distance within is not permanent. It is an invitation. Each misalignment you notice, each contradiction you uncover, is a doorway into deeper integrity. By walking through these doorways, you adjust your vibration not with force, but with honesty and compassion. And in doing so, you create the only condition under which love can truly thrive: a presence that is whole, a frequency that is clear, and a life that manifests effortlessly because it has nothing left to resist. There is a heaviness that lingers beneath the surface of many lives, an unspoken weight carried not in the hands, but in the nervous system, in the heart, in the stories that never found completion. These unresolved patterns are not simply memories of what once happened. They are living echoes that continue to shape the present. Every time you enter a new relationship and feel a wave of anxiety that has no clear source, every time you step toward abundance and immediately sabotage your progress, you are encountering the residue of a pattern left unresolved. They speak through hesitation, through mistrust, through the strange familiarity of repeated disappointment. Unresolved patterns form when experiences of pain or rejection are not fully processed. Perhaps you were abandoned by someone you trusted. Perhaps you gave your heart to a dream that never materialized. Or perhaps you were taught to silence your needs to preserve the comfort of others. Each of these moments carves a groove in the psyche and the body, teaching you what to expect, how to protect yourself, and what to believe about your worth. The mind may try to forget, but the body remembers. It holds on to these lessons and reproduces them whenever a situation feels similar, even faintly. And so the cycle continues. The tragedy of unresolved patterns is not only that they repeat, but that they distort your sense of possibility. When you have been wounded, your nervous system begins to equate safety with familiarity. Even if familiarity means inconsistency, scarcity, or pain, it becomes the known ground upon which you unconsciously choose to stand. This is why so many find themselves drawn again and again to relationships that resemble the very ones they long to escape. The vibration being broadcast is not one of open readiness, but of subconscious recognition. I know this kind of energy. It feels like home. Without realizing it, the very patterns you want to leave behind are the ones you magnetize, because your vibration is calibrated to them. Breaking free begins with recognition. It requires the courage to say, "The life I am living now is not a reflection of what I truly desire, but of what I have unconsciously rehearsed." That admission is not blame, it is clarity. Once you see the thread of repetition, you can begin to unweave it. But clarity alone is not enough. The body must be re-educated gently and consistently to respond differently when old triggers appear. This is where awareness becomes practice. Instead of rushing to prove your worth when rejection threatens, you learn to pause and anchor in your inherent value. Instead of reaching for familiar chaos when calm feels unbearable, you train yourself to rest in stability long enough to recognize it as real safety. Imagine carrying a backpack filled with stones from every disappointment, betrayal, and failure you have endured. At first, you may not notice the weight. You adapt, you compensate, you move forward. But over time, the load shapes your posture, slows your pace, and limits how far you can travel. The unresolved patterns are those stones. They are not who you are, but they are what you carry. Adjusting your vibration requires that you open the backpack, examine each stone, and decide whether it still belongs to your journey. Some will dissolve when brought into awareness. Others may require rituals of release, writing letters you never send, speaking truths you once swallowed, offering forgiveness not as approval, but as liberation. Each act of release lightens the load and shifts the vibration. There is a paradox here. The very patterns that wound you are also the teachers that can free you. Within each repetition lies an opportunity to choose differently. When the familiar scenario returns, the unreliable partner, the stifling job, the subtle dismissal, you are being given a chance to respond in a new way. If you do, the vibration changes. If you don't, the lesson repeats. The universe is not cruel. It is consistent. It reflects not only your conscious desires, but your embodied expectations. To alter the reflection, you must alter the expectation. And that happens through lived choice, not abstract wishing. The journey of releasing unresolved patterns is not about erasing the past. It is about integrating it. Integration means allowing the memory to exist without letting it dictate your present vibration. You can honor the truth that you were hurt without vibrating as if you are still in danger. You can acknowledge that you were disappointed without assuming disappointment is inevitable. This shift requires presence. It requires the willingness to sit with discomfort long enough to recognize that it is an echo, not a prophecy. Each time you do, the echo fades and the present becomes louder. Consider for a moment how unresolved patterns shape not only relationships, but your sense of prosperity. If you grew up believing that resources are scarce, that joy must be earned through struggle, or that abundance is for others but not for you, those beliefs remain lodged in your vibration. You may consciously pursue financial success, yet unconsciously repel it by making choices that keep you in cycles of limitation. You may dream of freedom, yet sabotage opportunities when they arrive, because part of you still believes that flourishing will lead to abandonment, envy, or loss. Until these patterns are addressed, abundance cannot fully stay, no matter how much effort you exert. There is an image that captures this reality, a garden filled with weeds. You can plant new seeds of desire, love, prosperity, connection, but if the weeds of old patterns remain, they will choke the growth. The soil itself must be tended. Weeding is not glamorous work. It is slow, repetitive, and requires patience. Yet without it, nothing flourishes. Adjusting your vibration is this kind of work. It is tending to the inner garden, pulling out what no longer belongs, and creating space for new life to grow. The process is demanding, but the harvest it makes possible is beyond measure. Unresolved patterns may feel like chains, but they are, in truth, invitations. They are not here to imprison you, but to draw your attention to the places within that are still asking for light. Each time you meet them with honesty instead of denial, with presence instead of avoidance, with compassion instead of judgment, you shift the field of your vibration. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, life begins to mirror this new state. You encounter relationships that feel different, opportunities that feel aligned, and moments of peace that once seemed impossible. The change is not forced. It is the natural response to a vibration that has finally been freed. The weight of unresolved patterns is heavy, but it is not permanent. You were not born to carry this load forever. You were born to recognize it, to release it, and to walk lighter into the life that calls you. Love and abundance are not waiting to appear someday in the future. They are already here, ready to flow into the space you create when you put the old stones down. Your vibration is the key. When you align it with clarity, compassion, and courage, the patterns that once defined you dissolve into history, and what remains is the presence of who you have always been, worthy, whole, and ready to manifest without effort. One of the deepest wounds carried by the human heart is the belief that love and abundance must be earned through performance. This belief, woven into us by culture, family, and past experiences, creates the illusion that our worth is conditional. You may find yourself constantly striving to be good enough, useful enough, beautiful enough, successful enough, always searching for the approval that seems to unlock love. Yet no matter how much you achieve, the feeling of incompleteness lingers. This is not because you are lacking, but because conditional worth is an illusion that can never be satisfied. It is a vibration of scarcity disguised as ambition. When you live under this illusion, every gesture becomes a transaction. You give in order to receive, you perform in order to be seen, you sacrifice in order to be chosen. Relationships become stages where you play the role of the provider, the caretaker, the one who never disappoints. But beneath this performance lies exhaustion, resentment, and a quiet desperation. The vibration you emit in these moments is not one of love, but of bargaining. Others may sense it and respond with distance, or worse, with exploitation. In either case, the pattern repeats. You give more, hoping this time it will be enough, and once again you feel unseen. The tragedy of conditional worth is that it blinds you to the truth that love, in its purest form, cannot be earned. Love is not a wage paid for services rendered. It is a resonance shared between souls who meet in authenticity. Abundance, too, is not a prize handed to the most deserving, but a natural flow that responds to openness, gratitude, and alignment. When your vibration is entangled with proving and performing, you block this flow. You cannot receive freely while convincing yourself that everything must be deserved. Consider how this illusion shows up in subtle ways. Perhaps you decline compliments because you feel they overestimate you. Perhaps you sabotage opportunities because you fear being exposed as unworthy. Perhaps you remain silent when boundaries are crossed, believing that conflict would risk abandonment. These are not failures of character. They are echoes of the belief that your presence alone is not enough. They are symptoms of a vibration tuned to scarcity, to the expectation that everything precious must come at a cost. The process of shifting this illusion begins with recognition. Notice the moments when you feel compelled to explain yourself, to justify your needs, or to diminish your achievements in order to appear humble. Each of these moments is a window into the belief system shaping your vibration. To adjust it, you must practice something radical: unconditional presence. This does not mean arrogance or entitlement. It means standing in the truth that your being is already worthy of love and abundance, independent of performance. Imagine a flame burning in the darkness. It does not negotiate its right to exist. It does not prove its brightness or apologize for its warmth. It simply burns, and in doing so, it illuminates. Your worth is like this flame. When you allow it to shine without apology, you radiate a vibration that naturally attracts love and prosperity. People feel drawn not because you convince them, but because they sense the authenticity of a soul, no longer bargaining for permission to exist. Of course, embracing unconditional worth is not an instant transformation. The body remembers years of striving, and the mind clings to the safety of old narratives. At first, resting in your inherent value may feel uncomfortable, even dangerous. You may hear inner voices whispering that you are lazy, selfish, or ungrateful for no longer performing. These voices are not truths. They are guardians of the old illusion, afraid of the freedom that comes when you no longer play by their rules. Each time you choose to rest in presence instead of performance, you weaken their hold and strengthen a new vibration. This shift is not about abandoning effort, but about changing its source. When your actions arise from worthiness rather than the pursuit of it, they carry a different quality. Work becomes expression instead of proof. Love becomes sharing instead of sacrifice. Growth becomes curiosity instead of obligation. In this way, abundance flows more naturally, not because you have finally proven yourself, but because your vibration is no longer resisting it. Relationships especially are transformed when the illusion of conditional worth dissolves. When you stop bargaining for love, you stop tolerating what is incoherent with your being. You no longer cling to those who withhold affection, because you know your worth does not depend on their recognition. You no longer overextend to earn attention, because you trust that true connection will come to meet you. In this space, love that is real, steady, and nourishing can finally stay. There is an image of a tree that illustrates this truth. The tree does not negotiate the sunlight, nor does it beg the soil for nourishment. It extends its roots and receives, it grows and offers shade, it flowers and gives fruit. Its existence is not a bargain but a cycle of giving and receiving, rooted in the certainty of its place in the earth. So it must be with you. When you release the illusion of conditional worth, you become like this tree rooted in your being, open to the flow of love and abundance that has always been available. The illusion of conditional worth has been heavy, but it does not define you. It is a story that can be rewritten, a vibration that can be recalibrated. Each time you honor your truth without bargaining, each time you allow yourself to receive without proof, you step closer to alignment. And in this alignment, you discover what has been true all along, that love is not a prize and abundance is not a transaction. They are mirrors of the vibration you carry, reflections of the worth that has always been yours. There is a quiet truth often overlooked in the search for love and abundance. The outer world only reflects the degree of alignment that lives within. Alignment is not about rigid perfection or an unbroken chain of positivity. It is the capacity to live in harmony with your inner truth, to allow your actions, your choices, and your presence to flow from a center that is undivided. When alignment is present, life moves with a sense of natural rhythm, and relationships unfold with less resistance. When it is absent, even the most sincere efforts feel heavy, as if you are walking against the current of your own soul. The absence of alignment can be subtle. You might find yourself pursuing goals that look impressive on the surface, but leave you empty once achieved. You might notice that your words say yes while your body quietly says no. You might remain in environments that drain you because the alternative feels uncertain. In these moments, your vibration carries confusion, and the universe reflects it back in the form of stalled progress, repeated disappointments, and a sense that life does not quite respond to your intentions. This is not punishment, but guidance. It is the way the universe whispers that something deeper within you is waiting to be heard. True alignment begins with listening, not the kind of listening that scans the mind for strategies, but a deeper listening that turns inward, toward the body, toward intuition, toward the silences between thoughts. This listening reveals what is incoherent. It shows you the tension in your chest when you force yourself to stay where you no longer belong. It reveals the fatigue that comes from pleasing others while abandoning yourself. It speaks through the unease you feel when your life looks full, but your spirit feels empty. Each of these signals is a map, pointing to where alignment has been lost. To step into alignment is to honor these signals. It means allowing yourself to acknowledge where you have betrayed your own truth and choosing, gently but firmly, to return. Sometimes this return requires releasing people or paths you once thought were permanent. Sometimes it means reshaping routines or rituals that have become mechanical. Sometimes it calls for the courage to stand still until clarity arises, even when others expect you to move quickly. Alignment is rarely the path of convenience. It is the path of coherence, and it often asks for sacrifices that feel heavy in the moment, but liberating in the long run. Consider the way a compass works. No matter how many times it is shaken, it eventually steadies, always pointing to the same direction. Your soul carries a similar orientation. Even when life shakes you with loss, fear, or confusion, there remains an inner compass that points to your truth. When you ignore it, you may still move, but you wander in circles. When you heed it, even if the path is slow, you travel toward wholeness. This compass is not a luxury to consult only in times of crisis. It is the foundation of living in alignment every day. Alignment also transforms the way love is experienced. When you are aligned, you do not settle for affection that requires you to abandon yourself. You no longer confuse intensity with intimacy or chaos with passion. Instead, you recognize love by its resonance. It feels like expansion, not contraction. It feels like rest, not vigilance. This recognition does not come from logic alone, but from vibration. The body knows when it is safe. The heart knows when it is seen. When you are aligned, you trust these signals and allow them to guide your choices, creating space for relationships that nourish rather than deplete. In the realm of abundance, alignment reveals itself through flow. Instead of forcing opportunities, you begin to notice synchronicities, connections that arise without strain, doors that open at the right time. This does not mean life becomes free of effort, but the effort feels purposeful rather than exhausting. You are no longer running after prosperity as though it is outside of you. You are walking alongside it, co-creating with the universe. The vibration of alignment carries gratitude and clarity, and from this vibration, abundance feels less like a pursuit and more like a natural consequence of being in harmony with your path. The process of sustaining alignment requires daily nourishment. It is not a grand achievement, reached once and kept forever. It is a rhythm of returning, a practice of noticing when you have drifted and gently guiding yourself back. Some days this may mean choosing silence instead of noise, stillness instead of busyness. Other days it may mean speaking words you once held back, or taking a step toward a vision you have long delayed. What matters is not perfection, but consistency, the willingness to come back to coherence each time you notice its absence. There is an image from nature that reflects this truth. Picture a flock of birds in flight. They move in harmony, turning and shifting together without a single command. This alignment is not rigid. It is fluid, responsive, alive. Your life, too, can move in this kind of coherence when your inner truth leads. The turns may be unexpected, but they are graceful. The path may not be straight, but it carries you exactly where you need to go. In this state, love and abundance do not need to be chased. They arrive as companions on the journey. The landscape of true alignment is spacious, open and alive with possibility. It is a place where you no longer perform for worthiness, where unresolved patterns no longer dictate your choices, where love and abundance no longer feel like distant dreams, but like present realities. This landscape is not far away. It begins in the simple, courageous act of listening inward and following what is revealed. Each time you do, you align more deeply, and your vibration becomes a clear signal to the universe. I am ready, I am coherent, I am whole. And from that place, what you manifest comes not through struggle, but through resonance, not through effort, but through presence. At the heart of every longing for love, abundance, and peace lies the same question: am I aligned with the truth of who I am? Throughout this journey, we have seen how unresolved patterns, the illusion of conditional worth, and the absence of alignment create silent distances that keep fulfillment at arm's length. But these distances are not barriers meant to last forever. They are invitations to return to coherence, to reclaim the vibration that was always yours before the world taught you to doubt it. True love cannot take root in the soil of self-bargaining. Abundance cannot remain where the vibration of scarcity is still rehearsed. Manifestation is not about demanding outcomes, but about becoming the resonance that naturally welcomes them. When you breathe with presence, when you release the weight of old stones, when you honor the flame of your worth without apology, you step into a field of life that no longer needs to be forced. It begins to flow. Love recognizes itself in you. Prosperity finds the doorway already open. This return to wholeness is not a one-time achievement, but a lifelong rhythm. Each day invites you to notice where you have drifted and to guide yourself gently back. Every choice to rest in coherence, no matter how small, strengthens the signal you send to the universe. And with every return, your vibration becomes clearer, steadier, more powerful, until life itself begins to mirror that steadiness back to you. Remember, you were never meant to beg for love or strive endlessly for abundance. You were meant to align, to embody, and to allow. The path of manifestation is not about becoming someone else. It is about dissolving what is false until only your truest essence remains. In that essence lies the magnetic presence that draws to you the love, prosperity, and harmony you have always sought. Now that you have walked with me through this journey of vibration and alignment, let me leave you with a question that matters more than any other. Are you ready to stop chasing what you desire and finally become the presence that naturally attracts it? If this message resonated with you, I invite you to subscribe to this channel so that every new teaching can guide you further along your path of manifestation and inner transformation. And don't stop here. Continue your journey by watching the next video waiting for you on the screen. Each step you take, each moment you dedicate to your alignment, brings you closer to the life your soul has always known is possible.